Hey everybody, how's it going? How you doing, huh? How are you? I hope you're having a good Friday. That your life is going pretty good. How are you? Howdy, folks. Man, I loathe this right here. This absolute horse nonsense. That's the phrase. How's it going, Michelle? How are you, Tuna? How are you doing? Let's see. What if we just pull off a sort of something a little that's, I guess, kind of helpful. How's it going, everybody? We're back doing more prep. We are back on our D&D-ish horse. As we talked about before, it would be surprising for us to land on D&D proper. But who knows? We'll see. Now, what are we working on today? Right? What the heck is this? Well, we've got plans. Chat plays D&D? We want to run an RPG so that Mixer Chat can actively play the game. I've seen a number of other podcasts in which, chat can observe, of course, that's one. I've seen ones where chat can participate at sort of a basic level. They can spawn monsters, or they can, have some sort of minor narrative effect. I want to try one where I can actually run a game for chat. That would be the ultimate to me. So I want to give it a try. We've done some planning so far. This is sort of our planning document, stuff we've already identified as possibilities, and good ideas, bad ideas. We've got them all. Come on down. That's our claim to fame. We use all the ideas. We don't use all the ideas. Typically only the bad ones. I have to go turn the light on. I'll be back. Wonder if that'll have any effect whatsoever on my whole gig here. A little bit, maybe not. Whatever. We've got our planning documents here, and I think we've had a pretty solid idea of how we're going to at least get chat kind of up front and center with it. Next, I think we're talking about RPGs. We're talking about our options for RPGs, and I think we need to finish that discussion before we can kind of move forward to the actual mechanics of this. Now, a lot of this depends on games that I already understand and I already know about, and games that I like running, games that I could see running in the future. And I will admit, as you can see, I've already got the game loaded up here, the game Dungeon World. Now, I'm not saying this is absolutely the one we are going to play, but I do think that it's the right, it's got some of the right aspects to it. So we're going to talk about the rest of our options today. We're definitely going to make our decision as to what game we're going to end up playing. And then after that, we'll see what happens. I want to make sure I pop into RPG and tell people that I'm going live. All right. Cool. That's in. Okay. Tuna, I don't know if you're still around, but how you doing? Hope you're having a good one. Let's talk about our games that we've got lined up so far. So we've talked about D&D, talked about Dungeon World, talked about Blades in the Dark, which, let's see. Actually, since I last talked about Blades in the Dark, I've had my first opportunity to actually run the game. Big Daddy Stealth, go ahead with your question. Let's hear it. Blades in the Dark, I've had my first chance to actually run the game. Big Daddy Stealth, what is that? Boxing? I've got no idea. The Band of Blades system is going to run a lot like Blades in the Dark. I think I would probably sort of homebrew a world for it, because I would definitely want to play this in a game, in a setting at least, where we can all enjoy it. I'd probably want to do sort of a full session 0 and do kind of the world building thing, and so we decide together what kind of world we're actually going to participate in here. The world of Band of Blades is fairly established. I think we're probably going to end up not using Microscope, as much as I'd love to use Microscope for our Session 0 stuff. Microscope is a much more freeform RPG, but it is designed to tell a large sweeping history of something. You often start with a prompt like I think it would be something like, we find a, let's see, cavemen establishing a civilization, or a humanity moving into the stars as the planet crumbles. Something like that, and then you would tell a long sweeping history about that would cover eras and, big chunks of history that might last centuries, and all the way down through events and down into actual scenes in which you'd play those scenes out. I think it would be really fun to play that as a Session 0 and have that be... It obviously wouldn't encompass the entirety of Session 0, because there's a lot more in a Session 0 that needs to be covered, but... The basics of the game. Let's find out. Yeah, I was right. It's boxing. The basics of the game would help us to really build out an enormous sweeping world with long histories to it, and then I would love to sort of zoom in on those and play out probably different events in that history. I think it'd be a lot of fun. The Sprawl is an option, and the Sprawl is something I would need to look into a little bit more, because I don't know a ton about the Sprawl. So, let's talk about Offworlders first. Where the heck is my Offworlders file? I think it's in my Google Drive. Okay, this is Offworlders. It's a great little kind of Dungeon World style game. Let's look at the stats and the rolling really quick, because I think that's going to be our most important note. And okay, so one of the things I really like already, and I've read this through, but I didn't read it through kind of with this project in mind, and I like to give stuff its own read, knowing what I'm going to do with it. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm looking for really. Let's see. Only roll when it's interesting. Nothing never happens. Good. But most importantly, partial successes, right? You can get critical successes with double sixes. Okay. Roll the dice. Yeah, 2d6 and a partial success system. Attributes. Each attribute has a rating between -1 and +3. Okay, so that's basically like Dungeon World. But you have 4 attributes instead of 6. Strength, agility, intelligence, and willpower. But there are individual skills. So it does parse out into individual skills, which include, let's see, you do not have an associated number. You either have a skill or you don't. I see. Okay, when you roll the dice and have an applicable skill, you may re-roll one of the dice. You must accept the second result. Okay, that's interesting. I do think that would add to our grind a little bit. So let's talk about Offworlders. Dead simple, much like Dungeon World. Partial success. And let's just call them spectrum rolls. That partial successes thing, we're going to retitle those spectrum rolls. One of the things that's important to me in an RPG is that you don't end up with dead ends. This is part of the reason why I'm not a huge D&D proper fan, because of the dice rolling system. That's the basic engine of it. It's a D20, and you either pass on something or you fail on what you're trying to do, which is a great way to move the action forward, as long as you pass. If you don't pass, oftentimes what you end up with is a stalled out game, right? And let's say you've set up an environment in D&D where you've got, a couple of different approaches that your players could come from, and they're working toward this thing, and somehow your sneaky person can't get the lock picked, and your strong person can't get the door kicked through, and your magic user can't, magically blow the hinges off. Well, what then? Either you start to allow just check spamming. So, my philosophy on whether or not you can make the same check twice for something is that you must have somehow changed the scenario. So if you want to try and kick a door down and you roll and you can't do it, I'm assuming you've kind of tried everything at your disposal that you've just got there with you. Now, if you change the scenario somewhat, if you can get someone else to weaken the door, if you can bring a new tool that you didn't have before, if you can, if you are showing up somehow stronger in a way, if you've got some piece of gear that's going to help you beat this door down, then you can make that check once more. But to just make the check, fail, okay, well, I make it again. I think the first check kind of encompasses all of your attempts to do that thing. So you can end up in some of these spots in D&D where you have made your checks, everyone's made their appropriate checks, and you're sort of bottlenecked into one spot. If there's just the one door to get through into the next room, you've got to get through that door somehow. And if everyone has failed their checks and no one can really change the scenario in any way, then you're just sitting there outside a door with not a lot of recourse, everyone kind of twiddling their thumbs, wondering what to do next. That's why I like these spectrum rolls, these partial successes. It really increases the chances of succeeding, and it brings with it a complication. And I think that is, very helpful for what we're doing here. I'm going to do this in reverse order. So, B, it keeps the action moving, and I think it's more true to life, really. The progress of an adventurer, and so maybe true to life isn't the correct term. No, it absolutely is the correct term. I thought about it for a second. I thought about my various struggles with, trying to learn, OBS, or trying to learn any other program, or trying to do anything on the computer, trying to work with uploads and all that. It's absolutely true to life that for every time you succeed, you learn more about how complicated it is to do so. And I think these spectrum rolls really represent that well. So that was B. Now back to A. It's going to be really helpful to have a spectrum roll for what we're doing here. The spectrum roll is going to give us an opportunity to parse down decisions into decision trees. And we'll call these, decision arcs versus decision trees. There's the traditional style, which is the decision arc, which is anywhere along your 360 degree view. You could pick any one of those, and you could pick anything to do, anything within your purview. That's going to take a really long time. So I'd like to start playing, and this is going to go against a lot of my sort of DM instinct. I'd like to start playing this game with decision trees in mind. Now, if we can move away from that, that would be fantastic. If it doesn't grind the game down to a halt, essentially, then I would love to continue and go toward that sort of full arc decision making rather than just decision trees. Because decision trees are going to be essentially a short list of choices. And when games like Offworlders, or more importantly, Dungeon World, and I don't know why I've got 2 copies open here, I would say, not more importantly, but more significantly, Dungeon World. Let's take a look at some of these partial success options. Where are we at? I don't know how to navigate this PDF at all. Let's see. 55 is where we want to be. Where are we at? There we go. Intrepid Adventurer. Choosing your look, choosing your stats. 55. Okay. Got our basic moves. Hack and slash. I'm going to zoom in here because this is weirdly zoomed out. Alright. On a 10+, you deal damage. On a 7 to 9, you deal damage to your enemy and the enemy takes an attack against you. So that's really clear. We know exactly what happens next. You know, we don't have to sort of let the player, whoever's currently making the decision, we don't have to let them take a bunch of time to write out the next event that's going to happen, because that's the big problem that I see coming up in this, is that it's going to be a slow process, and I don't want that. We've got volley. On a 7 to 9, you choose one. Whichever you choose, you deal your damage. So, once again, we deal in decision trees. And this is just going to be 1, 2, or 3. You have to move to get the shot placing you in danger, as described by the GM. You have to take what you can get, minus d6 damage. You have to take several shots, reducing your ammo by 1. Still got a little bit of a cough left. We've got defy danger. On a 7 to 9, you have to make a worse out. It has to be a worse outcome, a hard bargain, or an ugly choice. And a lot of those are just going to be like, choose A or B. And the system will be one that I'll offer you. Oh, somebody in Discord asking for the link. Of course. Let's see. Just a moment. Sorry. Okay. So that's in there. We're looking at Dungeon World right now. And I'll be able to offer worse outcomes, hard bargains, or ugly choices. And I'll be able to, parse those down really cleanly into, choose A or B. And I'll have to decide how I'm going to handle... I do know I don't want to do polling for everything. Let's look at my options for what I can do for a poll. I would love to be able to do some short polling. Okay, so I've got a poll duration. I can make it last for only 10 seconds. That might work. I might need some help with this though. I would need like a stream producer to do that, super consistently. But ultimately, I don't want certain decisions open to everyone. I think it's more interesting if you can actually pick a character, and you're not going to be able to play that character exclusively. It's not going to be only you playing that character, but it is going to be, I want essentially different teams, and I think I'm going to try and run 3 different teams, each with different names. So let's get back into this. We got to continue talking about Offworlders. Okay. We're looking at attributes, skills, abilities. We start with 2 abilities. It's a special trick. Okay, so it's a little bit like feats. Making an Offworlder I don't think we need that right now. Let's look about what the characters actually are comprised of. What are the numbers behind our characters? So we've got abilities are brute and unstoppable. Skills are athletics and pilot, which means that they can re-roll one of their 2 dice, and they must take the new result. They've got their various attributes here. Okay, there is health. That's a pretty common one in games. Let's see, brass knuckles. No additional armor, credits, and appearance. Okay. Okay, so actually in the pros column for this, I'm going to bring down an even more, let's see, even simpler, yeah. Even simpler attributes line up. There are only 4 of them. I think we could do kind of an assumed reroll on bad rolls. You know what I mean? I think again, I'm trying to come to chat as much as I can with good decisions to make and try to reduce as much as I can frivolous decisions. Decisions that are going to take a while and or not really have that great an effect on the gameplay. Or something that can just be assumed, such as if someone is going to make a skill check and doesn't roll very well with athletics, they would probably want to re-roll. Let's see. What are my cons here? Outlaw. Okay, so we've got some special abilities according to each playset. Got the geek. When you encounter a new situation, area, or character, you may ask the GM any one simple question about the object, people, or surroundings. If it's something you could possibly perceive, the GM must answer you honestly. Okay. Now maybe that's just a bad example, but let's take a... I want to take a look at some more of these, because these are going to be significant, right? We're going to have people who are going to be playing these things, and I want these to matter. I want people to be able to engage these special abilities, but I don't want it to take a long time, such as this analytical one would probably take a decent bit of time to suss out. Can you may spend 1 supply to produce a single dose or use of medicine, chemical, poison, biological agent. Give it a name and a purpose, and decide with the GM exactly how it works. Okay. Alright. Charge you a dangerous situation without regard for your safety or the safety of others. You get +1 to your next roll. Okay. I see. All right. You shoot first, says you cannot be surprised. If someone would surprise you, you get to jump on them instead. You always act first in a fight. Okay. Well, let's take another look at Dungeon World just to make sure that I haven't misremembered anything. But as I remember it, and boy, if I could get a bigger sheet for this, that would be great. Well, let's look at my Nerd Games folder, see if I can get like my basic rules. Play sheets. Basic and special moves, that's exactly what I want. There we go. Okay. So these are the basic moves. These are things that we're going to be interacting with quite a lot. And one thing that's important to me, what do we see here? A lot of bullet points. These bullet points are going to be helpful for us. They're going to allow people to vote on these things without taking a lot of time to write out precisely what it is they want to do. Now, of course, as I am describing things, I definitely want opportunities for people to be able to describe, how they actually behave in certain scenarios, rather than just picking off of a list. I don't want it to all come down to pick off of a list. But what I need is a good balance between picking off of a list so that I can, start in on some of the mechanical side of things while the person is typing. I want a good sort of good action economy for us here on the stream. Actually, I think it's called action queuing, isn't it? I remember reading something about this recently. Queuing. I'm pretty sure I wrote that. Yeah, I did definitely write that very wrong. Allows a player to queue up several actions to be carried out once the current action finishes. Yes. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. I want to be able to... Well, it's mostly what I'm talking about. Essentially, I want to be able to have something going on at all times. I don't want to just sit here and wait for somebody to type. This is of course not the problem of the typer, simply a problem of the system, and that's one of the issues that we're gonna have to figure out. But yeah, as you can see, lots of sort of lists here regarding. Wait, what's going on here? Basic, special, basic, special. How did that end up like that? Oh, am I an idiot? Is it just, it's just the same one, isn't it? Yeah, it's just two copies of the same thing. I'm a moron. Okay. Yeah, it's a front and a back. Okay, so, as we can see, plenty of lists to deal with here. This one is special moves, and this is like, this would often happen outside of structured gameplay, but as we're looking at the discern realities, parlay, do these look different than I'm used to? I will admit I've got a fairly old version of Dungeon World. I've been playing it for, let's see, this is the one that I first got into. This is the first RPG that I really jumped into, and as such, I've had it for, let's see, I think I've had it since like 2013, 14? Somewhere in there. I don't think it was any earlier than that, because I got it shortly before I started playing with my bud, Tuna Sunday, and our goons here. Okay. Let's go back and take a look at... Off-worlders one more time. Because what we're trying to avoid is just really wide open decision making. Now, of course, this might be the sort of thing that I could sort of mediate, instead of saying, you've got your full arc of decision making. You've got I could impose my own spectrum of decisions on it, but I don't know. It certainly gives us plenty of options and things to do. And tags in a more digestible way than I think the Dungeon World system is. I don't love Dungeon World for its tags system. I think every game kind of has a complexity dump. When you're trying to represent an entire world, there is complexity to be had. There will be complexity somewhere in there, and I think a lot of games end up having some sort of complexity dump, which is the sort of behind the scenes stuff that catches a lot of the complexity issues. The issues of trying to represent a complex world in a amorphous, or what's the word I'm looking for? You're trying to represent the world in terms of abstractions, and something needs to catch kind of the complexity of a fully fleshed out world, and in Dungeon World that system tends to be tags. tags have individual meanings and all sorts of wild stuff going on, but they don't generally... I don't find them often terribly helpful. I'm going to have to go back to my other PDF of this. The layout for me is challenging. This is a tough way for me to look at stuff. Just big dams of text. Excuse me. It's an excellent game, and you would be doing yourself a disservice not to check it out. I learned just about the entirety of my foundation of DMing stuff from this game and from the people who designed it, specifically Adam Coble. This is the one I'm talking about there. All right, let's make some decisions here. We're looking at off-worlders. Let's see. Let's see. More full arc decisions, which for most purposes I would call that's just fine. But for our purposes, it's going to be that's going to be in the cons category. Okay. Let's see. No. Am I missing something? Oh, there it is. No characters to control. To fully control. The extended story. The extended story would be good. Let's see. Extended story is detached. Historical. You can certainly get attached to people within that, and that's why I would love to do it as a session 0, but it's not ultimately going to be what we're going to play here on Sidecar Stories. And finally, Ironsworn. One of the cons is that I don't know it as well, but I'm not going to put that into the con category because that's all on me. Ironsworn, let's see. I've got this someplace. Oh boy. I think it's in my drive-thru. Okay, let's see. Ironsworn. Oracles. I need the... You know what? Let's just look at the rules reference for right now, huh? Because this is ultimately going to be what we have to deal with most frequently. Okay. So, our action rolls, this is good. This would actually let me do something that I've considered, which is to play, instead of just simply running it, I would play it alongside you, and I would also be a PC, and then we would use this GM list system to help us determine what happens. Basically, what you do in this game is you roll 2d10 and 1d6. And I think this is more helpful visually than anything else. And so what you do is the blue dice here, this is our d6, that's our action die. These are the challenge dice, and you are trying to beat these with this. It is also a partial success system if you roll underneath both of them, if you roll less than both of them. And there's some math that goes into it. You add your stats to this dice and then compare it to these. On this one, let's assume we've got no stats that would apply here. If you beat both of them, it's a full success. If you beat one of them but not the other, it's a partial success. And if you, technically in this game, I think it's called like strong and weak hits. Yeah, strong hit, weak hit, and a miss. And if you don't beat either of them, it's a miss. As you can see on this one, with no addition of any skills or anything like that, we have a weak hit. On this one, we would have, and you do need to beat it. It says that explicitly you have to beat it, not match it. So in this one, we actually have a miss because it matches the lower one instead of beating it, and it definitely doesn't beat the higher of the two. So even though this was a fairly easy challenge here, as represented by low challenge dice, we apparently couldn't make it happen for ourselves. So let's say we're trying to climb up a slippery wall. Ooh, this wall was extra slippery, and it looks like we're also perhaps being shot at or something, and our 4 is not going to get us up the wall in any way. When the challenge dice match, let's see, matches, on a strong hit, the match represents a twist in the narrative, something interesting or a new opportunity. On a match where they miss, as we just had here, so where's it at? These two match, but we've missed. The match represents a heightened negative outcome, a complication or a new danger. If you're unsure what happens, ask the Oracle. Now, the Oracle is going to be... I don't know why I keep pulling up 2 of them. Let's look at the oracles, because these are going to play, obviously, a big part in... Oh, does this just allow us to build our own oracles? Let's see. I don't know. They ought to have a just oracles sheet. Ought they not? Progress track worksheet, characters, rules, map, workbook, moves reference, rulebook, assets, master set. What is this? Just assets within the game? Kind of asset cards? Sure. Okay. All very good things to have, but they're not my rule book. So let's take a look at the rule book. Let's see. Specifically, I want to know what the oracles have. Okay, so we need to go to page 22. I skipped way past it. Okay. 22. No, I need the actual oracles listed themselves. Rolling oracle die. Whenever you're prompted to move by an oracle table or to generate a result between 1 and 100, use 2 10-sided die. Ask the oracle. I need my tables. I need the actual tables of what the oracle will tell us. I don't need to know how to use them. I want to know, let's see. Your character, moves, the world, foes and encounters, oracles. That's what we needed. Okay, 165. Where are we at? Okay. Hello? Come on. 165. Okay, so lots of oracles to deal with. Interesting. How to use tables. Some really interesting art in this game. Okay. Intro to oracles. Not what I need. We want to see the actual options here. Okay. So this gives us an idea of how we would proceed in issues of in moments of questioning what's going on. This would be mostly if I didn't if I wasn't going to be GMing, but I think I am. So maybe this isn't germane to what we need. You know, I think ultimately I am going to have the answer to these questions, and not only that, but I don't necessarily want to take the time to kind of go look them up. I of course have my own roll tables for certain things that I will be using, but I don't know. I don't know that this is what we need. I don't think that for us, I don't think this will aid us in our mission statement. I don't think this will help us to do what we set out to do. I don't think this will help us to actually play a game effectively. They will not help us to play our game effectively. And admittedly, that's because our game is very strange, and so we're looking for something very specific. And I don't think this is it, as much as this is very interesting. And I just want to, I'll plug Adam Koppel again. He plays this on his stream, and he's actually set up a campaign of this and continues to play it. And I think that's really interesting. The campaign has been, I'm only, let's see, like an episode or two in so far. And it's been, I think he's described it a bit like Conan, just in terms of tone, kind of the episodic style, and you know, moving from challenge to challenge. It's a fun run. Okay, let's look at the Sprawl, which I don't think I own at all, which would be, you know, a challenge. Ultimately, it's a pretty specific one, and so, you know, I think I'm just going to strike this one altogether, because I think it is time to make some decisions. I am going to zoom in so this is a little easier for y'all to see, but not like that. I'm not. Never like that. Okay. I think it's time to make some decisions about what we're going to do. I'm already feeling pretty strongly about it. I think the Band of Blades system, it could help us. The character creation is really simple. But ultimately, I think it's going to be a detriment that it locks us into this genre. Now, like I said, we could probably hack it out of that genre. We could probably move it from that genre into something else. And, you know, I do know that the dice rolling system I do enjoy quite a bit. It's actually different from the Dungeon World one. In Dungeon World, you roll 2d6 and you add those together. In Blades in the Dark, you and I think we talked about this last time, you roll a bunch of d6 and you only take the highest one. So there's no math. It just depends on, you know, how many it depends on how many stats you have. So the number of stats you have or the number of I think they're called action dots you have. The number of dots you have in a particular skill determine how many you roll, how many dice you roll. And I guess, okay, so that's an added point of complication. With any of the Blades in the Dark, the Forged in the Dark systems, one of our cons is what up, Tuna? It's all good, bud. One of our cons for the Forged in the Dark systems is that adding a die can come from a piece of like equipment and such, and I think that is going to create some additional bit of grind where, well, I don't want a lot of back and forth in terms of like, oh, does this piece of equipment apply here? You know, it would give me that extra die I need, that sort of thing. So I don't think we're going to be using that one, but it's something that works really well at the table for average play. But, you know, instead of spending a bunch of time on this, I think we know what's going to happen. I think we're leaning away from D&D specifically. It's bulky, it's crunchy, it's a lot of like full arc decision making, and I don't know that that's going to work well for us. Blades in the Dark, I still really like. It's built toward character ends. The genre's really narrow. Yeah, I think we know where this ends. I think we know where we end on Dungeon World. I'm going to build from here with Dungeon World in mind. We're going to take Dungeon World and we're going to make it into a system that works well for us and what we have the ability to do on Mixer. And once we know how we're going to play, then we're going to start to make some more interesting decisions about, you know, like what, how this is going to fit into my schedule, and then, you know, we're gonna do world building things, and I'm going to have we'll have a big world building stream where we all kind of party together and decide what the world looks like, what you know, what magic looks like, etc. And then after that, we'll probably have an entirely different stream for character building. We might get to it in the first one. I don't know. I would say in 2 hours, we probably will not get to it in the first one. But yeah, we've got our game picked out. We're playing Dungeon World. I think this is going to be an incredible benefit to us. I think we've got a good option here. As I played Dungeon World, it was really conducive to me learning how to do a lot of GMing. It really worked for me when I was just a little bitty DM boy trying to learn what the heck I was doing. But this is going to give me a lot of great options for how I'm going to interact with y'all. Okay, so let's figure out the main things. What does TOA stand for? Terms of art, list decisions. Okay. And I think let's rename this decision trees. Okay. Now, how does... Oh, let's go slap a big ol' header on this one. Giddy up. Mechanics of chat-led RPG. So what do we need to be able to do here? So we need, let's start with just a basic list here. What the heck font size am I using up here? Okay, 11, I guess, whatever. We need... Goosed it again. We need... So we'll need to do character creation. We will need our characters to be... I definitely want chat to choose them, and I need a way for chat to be able to interact with that process. It's probably going to be based on polls, but it might be within... this might be a Discord issue. Discord channels for each character. And I am going to enjoy that quite a bit because I can give each of y'all, you know, specific special information that only your character is going to be able to interact with. And I think that'll be fun. So we've got Discord channels for each character. During the actual gameplay of it, though, I think we need ways to... Oh, my face probably is covering up what I'm typing, huh? Yeah, that's a good call. Let's see. Let's get me out of here. I'll switch sides. There we go. That should be better. And let's jump back into the Dungeon World PDF. This PDF that I'm not a super fan of. Thorny Crane. Also, hi. I've got a different username on every platform. Are you Lit Addict? Is that you? Is that you? Who are you? Let's take a look at our basic moves, because I think that's going to be, you know, one of our first and foremost issues. Nope. Thorny Crane. Okay. Who are you? It's a mystery. Okay. So, interact with basic moves. We need them to be able to interact with special moves. Guess we'll never know. Okay, we've got a mysterious crane up in the mix. Mystery crane. Okay. Yeah, for anyone who's just joining us and doesn't know what this is all about, I am currently making plans for how we are going to play. We're going to play RPGs with chat. D&D's a recognizable name, but what we're actually going to be playing is Dungeon World, because it's a simpler game. It's going to allow us to do more quickly and more efficiently what we're trying to do here. So we need them to be able to interact with the basic and special moves, interact with, we'll call I think they're called class moves. Just the moves that are attached to the specific classes, i.e. for the bard, stuff like it goes to 11. You unleash a crazed performance. Or bamboozle when you parlay with someone. On a 7+, you also take +1 forward with them. That's a lot of what I really enjoy about this game, is that a lot of stuff is kind of codified for what you need it to be. When you hack and slash, you take +2 armor forward. When you... even the spells, food and water you hold in your hands while you cast this is consecrated by your deity. In addition to now being holy or unholy, the affected substance is purified of any mundane spoilage. So what I can do here is give the players, I'd probably drop it, maybe I'd have it on the screen. Oh, Nate's heard that one before. I would probably have some of this on the screen. So maybe the basic moves, etc. But then I would have the character sheets in either Discord or on the screen or available for people in some way, such that they can just go ahead and name the move that they want to take. So when I ask, Crane, what do you do? You can just name, Divine Intervention if you've got that move. And then when you commune, you get 1 hold and lose any hold you already had. Spend that hold when an ally takes damage to call on your deity. They interweave with an appropriate manifestation, a sudden gust of wind, a lucky slip, burst of light, and negate the damage. Okay, so yeah, you can sort of intervene on behalf of your companions using Divine Intervention. Orison for guidance. So, we need people to be able to interact with the class moves, and that is probably going to be a matter of some sort of database? Print-offs? Because I know that a lot of people are watching this on mobile. So I need there to be some way to access this stuff without being forced to constantly leave Mixer and then come back to take a look at it. So perhaps I'll definitely be making these available somewhere online, such that when you are looking for, what kind of character you have, you'll be able to find this stuff like as a PDF that you could print off and keep with you while you're playing. You're a paper pirate. Okay, so interacting with class moves. We need a good way to make... Come on. Okay. They have to be able to make interactive decisions. I.e., which I think it's going to be up in our basic moves is like the most clear example of it. Like volley, for instance. You volley. Partial success. Which option do you take? And maybe I'll even put a new version of this where they are numbered. So you can just say like volley A. That way we know what happens. I would want you to be able to make that decision after I describe what happens as a result of your volley. Let's see. Yeah, you volley, and then we would roll, and then I would probably do all the dice rolling, although if I can get a dice roller bot up in chat, I will absolutely do it. In Discord, you can open docs without leaving the voice channel. That could work. It could work, and I don't know. Crane, that's a great point. In Discord, you can open docs without leaving the voice channel. That's one of the ways that Discord is great. I want to be able to do a lot of the stuff within Mixer, and I think the Discord platform is great, but it's not going to allow me to do anything visual, which I think that will ultimately frustrate our efforts here. So Discord is definitely going to play a part in this, but it's not going to be the whole bag. We'll see kind of what sort of role Discord takes. We discussed back in our initial controls how we were going to parse out between characters. And I had considered, doing a different, Discord channel for each character and having people interact with me in that way live. I still plan to have a different channel for each character such that I can give you information as proper. But the idea of having 3 different Discord chats open at once, that was going to be challenging. And I think the Discord, like, they'll absolutely be available in the Discord. It's just a matter of what do I think? How am I going to keep them available for people when they want to actually be playing at the same time? But it's a good thought, Crane. Let's see. Interactive decisions. You volley. Partial success. Which you take? Okay. Interactive decisions, and then I want the option. I want the ability. I want a method for full arc decisions. Just the blank. What do you do? Because I think that's going to be a good way to sort of start encounters. What do you do? And when you are saying sort of where you go from certain spots, I want to leave the option open to make some full arc decisions. I just don't think it's going to be the meat of what we're going to be doing. It's going to be the appetizers. Okay, full arc decisions, decision trees. We'll call these GM generated. GM generated decision trees, because these are going to be the ones where it's not in the book at all. It's a matter of, like you see trails going off into the woods, and you also see a pathway nearby, and then you see a cave, behind a hill. Which do you go and investigate? So stuff that's not in the book, stuff that's a matter of sort of in-the-moment decision-making. We need a way to do those. We need a good way of asking questions. This is super important for clarifying moments when we are going to be, when people are going to be wondering, what do I see in this room? That sort of thing. Or if I forget something. If I forget to mention something, or if people want a rules consultation, although the rules consultations are probably going to happen pretty infrequently, because when you're playing with 4 people, rules can occupy a lot of your time. When you're playing with 8 people, rules occupy almost all of your time. If we get into this and we're playing with, even like 15 people, and I would consider that on the low end of my ambitions for this, we could spend an incredible amount of time on, rules clarifications and everything. So I'm probably going to have to ask people to make sure that they understand certain things before we get into it. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Okay. Sorry, I spaced out for a second trying to think of what are good ways to ensure that people have, like if I put up a rules video, how to ensure that people have watched it before they actually try to get in here and play stuff. I don't know. We shall see. Some sort of secret code. I have no idea. Okay. We need a way to answer questions. We need a good way for... we'll need a good way for players to be able to, let's see, the different levels of actions. So full actions are one thing. Well, let's call them free actions. That's what D&D calls them. How are we going to do things like free actions? So stuff like, I pick that thing up, or I shout at one of my compatriots. The more I look at this, the more it makes sense, I think, that sort of per turn we've got a different pilot. That way they can, they can shout to their companions and such, information that they need, as opposed to waiting for a prompt from me. Okay, so that's another thing. Questions, I think, fall under this category as well. But this is okay. Let's make a division here in terms, because we've got prompted and unprompted actions, right? This is going to become very important later on, I think, as we're playing. There are the prompted actions, of course, which is where I'm going to be able to ask somebody what they want, and they will tell me what they want. The alternative, of course, being they need something that I have not asked them about yet. So it's going to be important to find ways to work with these unprompted actions. Where's my dang ol' asterisk? There it is. Just to remind myself that that's going to be super important. Okay. So let's think through the examples of how we would play. Let's see. Oh, we would need dice rolls here too, obviously. Dice rolls. Unprompted. I'm going to say engaging assets. So these will be, I'll call them resources. It's a little easier to track. This is, the moments where they say, oh, I've got, a special, potion that I picked up 6 episodes ago that I could use here. It'd be perfect. So engaging resources, some time that they're going to be able to go ahead and do that. All right. Let's go through like a sample encounter, and just to make sure I haven't really missed anything. You know what I mean? So this is the encounter that I like to run everyone through. And heck with it, chat. We're playing right now. So we're not playing Dungeon World. We're going to play a moveless RPG that I call the intro. In this RPG, you have it's a 2d6 system with partial successes, and you have 2 stats exactly. Let me pull these up on screen so you can actually take a look at them. Okay. You have mind and you have body. All right, chat, we're playing something right now. we're getting into it. So, if you're here, it might be wise to sound off so I know who I can expect. Because this is gonna be interesting. Let's see. I think I'd like to try it with 2 characters. If I have to play one of the characters, that's fine. I probably will play one of the characters. We'll see. All right. Yeah, there's gonna have to be a good way when chat doesn't really know what to do, so I don't get any response. That's gonna be an important one. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Mediating. Indecisive chat. Okay, McQuay, Thorny Crane. Sounds good. Okay, so let's run through a quick encounter here. McQuay, let's McQuay and Tuna. Let's see. I'm gonna have y'all on a team. So y'all are gonna be person A. We'll call them Makwatuna. And we'll call this one the Crane. Okay. Okay. So you've got a +1 in one thing and a +2 in the other thing. Boy, I think this one would have to be as a poll, right? So, oh no, but I can't limit who gets involved with the polls. So the polls are going to have to be for like group decision making. Makwatuna. All right, you are correct. How about MW? How about that if I hit the wrong key? Okay. Oh boy, we're already starting into the nonsense. Okay. So, for both of you, you have to decide, for both of these individuals, we have to decide what their stats are. You get a +1 in one and a +2 in the other. What are you feeling? Crane, you can just go ahead and pick the higher of your 2 stats. Do you want it to be higher mind or higher body? All right, looks like there's full agreement on our PC Makwatuna, our mysterious individual, the Crane. I'm going to say until you get back to me, I'm going to put a +1 to mind and a +2 to body. +2 to body. Okay, perfect. All right, we're all set. So we've got our 2 characters. And this is the encounter that I always run. Perfect for variety. This is the encounter I always run for people who are totally new to RPGs, don't know what it is or why, how you don't have a winner, how that makes any sense. Okay, so you both open your eyes. It looks like it's roughly present day. You would understand that just based on the world that we're playing in. And you're looking around, and you appear to be in a prison cell. I think Makwatuna has the left bunk, the Crane has the right bunk. You've been here in prison. You don't know how long. You have just woken up and found yourselves here. You see in front of you, there's a long hallway that extends left and right. You don't see anything. You know, you're facing a wall, and somewhere off in the hallway, you hear someone whistling in footsteps. They seem to be approaching. What do you want to do? Michelle, welcome back. I'm going to say you are on Team the Crane. We're running a very, very simple RPG just to get the hang of, you know, what the flow of an encounter is going to be like. You've got, you can hear the dripping of water off somewhere. You're going to pretend to be asleep, says Tuna. Okay, gotcha. And then the Crane. And and I'm sure all of this is going to evolve over time, especially, you know, if we start to get a ton of people in here and I really have to parse, you know, like I've got 4 different people trying to make different decisions for the same PC. We'll see what we can do. But Thorny says, what's in the room with us? It appears to be a pretty sparse room. I think you've got a toilet and a tiny sink somewhere in the back. The pipes are a little loose, perhaps, because it seems like a pretty old prison that you're dealing with here. You've each got a blanket and a pillow, and you are laying on these, you know, thinly padded, you know, stainless steel sort of bed platforms. I think there's a dusty corner in sort of back near the toilet that you know, just collects the dust and the sand off of your clothes and such. So a bit of dust in the corner, and then maybe a couple of personal effects, a book or two. We've got Tuna pretending to be asleep, and I think this is the point where the guard makes their first pass. So let's go ahead and roll to see. I don't think the crane has not, you know, done anything, you know, weird or suspicious yet, so you're good. But let's see if the guard buys it. And this one doesn't count. It's only when I hit roll. Okay, and this seems like a mind kind of trick. This seems like, you know, you're trying to pull one over on somebody. So your total is 7. And that'll get you, +2 will get you up to just the top edge of a partial success. So it's still a partial success. Now, okay, so let's pause for a second. Thorny Crane is going to, the crane is going to read the book, and we will get back to that in just a moment. But let's sort of, what have we learned so far? We know we need questions, and I'm just going to add to that, like, learning about the environment. Okay. That's a good one. Engaging resources, yes. I think it's going to be, you know, stuff like I want to read the book. You know, when are players going to get the opportunity to do that? You know, to state that, and who are we listening to at the time? You know, we've got, you know, if Witchy Witch and if Michelle and Crane have 2 different ideas about what you want to do, how do we decide which of you gets to decide in that moment? And that might be a thing we do with stickers. Let's see. Okay, I think we're okay so far. And keep in mind, this is a very simple RPG, but that doesn't mean it's easier to play necessarily, because of course y'all don't know exactly what your capabilities are, whereas in Dungeon World you've got, you know, your whole list of basic moves. You can, you know, pick from these lists, etc. And then your class moves will let you do certain things, and then beyond that we can just sort of story tell about it. Okay, let's get back into it. So the crane is going to read the book. I'm going to have you, let's see. I think the guard walks by, and they are, it's a big, like hulking white dude. He is swinging his, he's swinging a little baton around, and, okay, that's an interesting idea. Gonna, oh boy. Okay, so in order here, actually not in order, because Tuna Sunday says I'm gonna yoink his pants down as he walks past. But Michelle says, is there a way for us to DM each other? That's a great question. Yeah, you can whisper to each other on Mixer. Can y'all do that to me, or can you do that to each other as well? And Michelle, are you talking about specifically you want to be able to DM to me, or you want to be able to DM to other people sort of on your same, within your same team? Yeah, you type in that /whisper, and if you just type in /w, it should start to autocomplete it for you. I can't actually write it down. Okay, so other team members. Yeah, so you can definitely use Whisper if you're going to talk to specific team members. However, that's a good point for sort of internal conferring. I want to. Well, you know what? No, that's it's an important thing to remind ourselves. So let's see. So we need like a resource list just to finish this thought. But let's see. What is it? Intra character communication. So ways for the different members of one team. So I like to use the example from the Adventure Zone. They've got Magnus Burnside's the fighter. They've got Taco the wizard, and they've got Merle High Church, the cleric. And so if Team Merle High Church needs to talk between themselves, how are they going to do that most effectively? I think that's a good point. And I do think that I think the Discord's going to come in handy for that sort of thing. But I'm wondering how much. How much importance does this hold? It's probably going to be important for us later on as we're starting to decide, like what your overall scene goals or what your overall, goals for a particular adventure are. And it may start to come down to, big decisions being made outside of our typical systems of who's in control at this moment. I don't know. That's a very important note here. And let's see. Unifying character goals. Okay. Good notes. Okay, so we've had a 7. That's a partial success when trying to sleep, and so pretending to sleep, Mekwatuna. I'm gonna say you do convince the guard that you're asleep, but they decide that this is opportunity to hassle you. So they bang on the bars of the cell, and they just go, hey, you think you're gonna have a good night when I gotta be awake all night? Not a chance. And he walks away, but there's a little bit more, whether or not you react to that, there's a little bit more attention now from some of the other prisoners, and you do hear, like other people like groan in their sleep and such as they're awoken by the noise. Awakened, I think. Okay, but we've got the Crane taking a read at this book. I think, let's see. Okay. So this is another one. I'm just going to go back to our notes really quick. Let's see. Determining A, intent, and B, method. Okay, that's going to be an important one as we're going along as well, because there's sort of the what do you do and there's the why do you do it, and I tend to like to know these two things together. I want to do this thing so that I accomplish this. It helps to clear up a lot of our issues. So let's see, Witchy Witch or Crane. And in the early days of this, it might just be first to pop it into chat, but I would like to know what do you want to gain by reading this book. And I'll just say You know, instead of making it open-ended, let's get some practice in with this, with these decision trees. Do you want to A? I'll need to like put A or B on my hands or something, or I'll need a spot to type it out. A. Are you trying to gain useful knowledge about the situation? Or B, are you trying to fake out the guard? And Witchy Witch, or honestly, we've got Tuna Sunday and McQuaquay on one team. Anyone else who's watching can jump in on the crane right now. B, okay. Trying to fake out the guard. Okay, so that's going to be cool. We've got agreement. All right, let's make a roll for it. Ooh, bad news. Okay, so technically there are no crit fails in Dungeon World. We may add them on later because I think they might be fun, but we'll see. So this has gone poorly. We had our guard has called some attention to the oops, says Michelle. The guard has called some attention to the cell here, and although they have continued to pass on their way, you hear from the cell over. Let's see. Hey, Crane. Do you still have my book? You were supposed to get me my book yesterday. It is not yesterday anymore. Okay. Now you're, sorry, I do want to make sure that I apply the proper things here. Your +1 would only get you to 3. And I've played this game a decent bit, so I remember some of this stuff. I'll just remind you that a 0 to 6 is a full failure. A 7 through 9 is a partial success, and a 10+ is a full success. And this is the sort of stuff that I will have probably on screen. I would want to have cheat sheets for all of this available somewhere at the very least. But you hear the person that you suddenly remember. Oh, you were supposed to drop this book off with this person yesterday. What's the name of this book here? Just anyone can shout it out in chat. Okay, so there's a good question. We'll have to add. Let's see. Free generation. We'll just call it freeform world building. Crane says 50 Shades of Grey. It got removed by Catbot, but I'll take it. Why not? Okay. Let's see. So we've got 50 Shades of Grey, and I think I'm going to name this person Kosov. Owner, 50 Shades of Grey. Ooh, 60 Shades. It's 60 Shades now. It's the bad prison knockoff of 50 Shades. 60 Shades of Grey. Who is this person? What is the name of... No, not what's the name. What's a rumor about the Arcane University? That kind of stuff. Okay. So you remember... Oh, shoot. I was supposed to get 60 Shades of Grey back to Kosov yesterday. You did not do so. And I think as such, he is getting very angry. You don't remember what he looks like, but you can hear he's got a big, deep voice, and he's rattling the bars of his prison cell. And it would appear that the guard is on their way back and not happy about it. What do y'all do? Kosov is yelling as you know him to do. You've heard this before. Kosov, when he gets into a rage, he is unruly. They've had to shut down the yard, even the mess hall, a couple of times because Kosov flies into a rage and then suddenly he's absolutely unreasonable. There's no getting to him. Okay, Michelle says, is there a way to slip him the book? Okay, the guard is coming back. It's part of the danger that you incurred with that sort of full failure roll. But fortunately for you, you've got +2 body. So I'm gonna say that as you are you try to sneak it in just in time, and this is going to be a body roll because you're trying to move quickly and be agile, so you're just going to try to slip him the book really quick before the guard notices. So let's see, you get a +2 to this roll. That's a 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you took it from a failure. Well, your stats got you a partial success. Okay. So I'm going to say that, let's see. Okay, I think this is going to be one of those instances where I am going to offer you let's just look at the the Dungeon World stuff. Okay, this is clearly not what I need. I just want to zoom in on this. What you have just done is essentially a defy danger check. On a 7 to 9. Oh my lord. What is going on? What is happening? Holy crap, what has happened here? I can't deal with this. What is this nonsense? On a 7 to 9, you stumble, hesitate, or flinch. The GM will offer you either a worse outcome, hard bargain, or an ugly choice. Okay, so I think I'm going to give you 2 options again. I think option A, you can't slip him the book. Or option B, you can, but the guard spots you. All right, A or B. And, this sort of happens in slow motion. Boy, I'm going to have to engage slow motion so many times as we're sort of waiting on people to decide things. That's challenging. That's challenging. It's important to know. This is why we're doing this, and I really appreciate y'all helping me, run this test. I think already I see a lot of potential in this. It's like it's working. I didn't know if we could get to this stage. It is working. We're doing it. Okay. Okay, we have the Team Crane concurs once again, and this is nice right now to know that like the group of you have in this case the 2 of you have fully agreed on this thing, but Team Witchy Crane, Team Witchy Crane, I was gonna say the Mystic, but you've got your higher stat is body anyway. But yeah, so you try to slip Kosov this book, and you succeed in doing so. You've done it, but the guard, you slip the book between, and your hand has just slipped back between the bars when suddenly a big fat meaty fist wraps around your wrist, and I think Tuna. What are we? Mequatuna. Team Mequatuna. Mequatuna, what do? You are still pretending to be asleep so far. I want to know what you are doing about this, if anything, and maybe you're trying to maintain your sort of position here, but the Crane, you are looking into the angry face of the guard, and he's got a big daffy beard, and oh, that's right. I apologize. I'm sorry. I do believe you've covered this. Okay, so you're going to try and spring forward. And that's right, you had a held action. Okay. Yeah, so the guard is currently just shouting into the crane's face, just saying, "Hey, what'd you just pass over there, huh? Huh? You know we don't allow anything like this. I want to know exactly what just changed hands between you two goons." Yeah, Tuna is going to go and try and yank them shorts. All right, so I think this is going to be another speed roll. I think you're trying to be agile and quick, and so this is going to be a body roll. So you get a +1 to this. Oh, it just gets you to the outer edge of you got a 6. It's the upper edge of a failed roll. However, aid or interfere. Let's see. I think the two of you have a bond. So let's start to very slowly bleed in some Dungeon World rules here. On a 7 to 9, you let's see. On a hit, they take a +1 or -2 at your choice. I think this is a bond, so I think you take +1, which means you have moved it from a failure to a partial success. Okay, you do manage to the belt buckle is fiddly, but you definitely manage to get those prison pants down. Okay, I'm gonna offer you a decision here, and this will be more fun in the future, I think, because what we're doing is essentially, instead of using any of these great lists that they've got here as a part of the Dungeon World game, I'm just essentially offering you like an A or B choice every time. In the future, it would be more like you'd have A, B, C, D, E, F, that kind of stuff. That's, outstanding warrants. You would be able to make much more intricate and interesting decisions than just A or B. But A or B, I think, are going to be go-tos. Like, they're going to be common for when I need to know what you do that isn't related to a specific move that you have. Okay, so you've got your held action. And your close bond to the crane has kept you safe in this, kept you from fully failing. But A, let's see, so here's your options. You manage to distract for a moment, but the guard still has crane. Or B, the guard turns their attention on you, kicking your hand hard, but releasing the crane. Okay, so this is something that I'll have to note in the future when I'm doing my GM-generated decision trees. Just go ahead and, don't write out the whole thing. Note for A, note for B. Okay, so anyone on Team Makotuna can answer this one. A or B. You distract the guard for a moment. You get it might allow you to take a quick action in there, but that's A. And then B, the guard turns their attention on you and they kick you hard in the hand. But crane would be free. This is the sacrifice that you make here. Okay, and Tuna says B. All right, the guard turns their attention on you. Once again, we've got consensus. Maybe this will be easier than I thought. Mecha Tuna. Oh, good lord. Now I think we're just writing like a very bad anime, huh? Just gonna pop that note up there, huh? Okay. Yeah, so you do... This is wild. I can't believe it's working. Okay. Mechatuna manages to yoink down these prison guard trousers, and they've got the stripes on either side. They get the whole belt down with it, in fact, and it is caught around the guard's one leg. The other one flails out. Crane, you manage to yank your hand back into your own possession as the guard lets go, and then you hear a bad meaty sound as the guard's steel-toed shoe connects with Mechatuna's hand. And Mechatuna, I think in moving forward, when you require the use of your, I'll say it's your offhand, but when you require the use of it, and I'll probably make that distinction every once in a while, I'll just say, like, if you have to make a body roll with both hands, you take a -1 to your body roll. That's just a made-up mechanic I'm doing right now. So anything that requires both hands to do, it's going to be a -1 to your body roll, which would put you at just a 0. Okay, so I think Mechatuna is probably in a decent bit of pain now, near the ground, and Crane, what are you up to? And Crane, I'll open this one up to, like, I know exactly what Nate and McCoy are up to, and I'll just say anyone else that's currently rolling in chat can feel free to go ahead and answer. Okay, so nope, this is one of those instances. I need a way to make this decision. So maybe, okay, go ahead and if you've got an idea for Crane, what you want to do, go ahead and let me know. But the freeform world building, let's see. Where's my, what do you do? There it is. Full arc decision making. I'm gonna punch him in the foot. Okay. Perhaps I ask, what do you do? And then start building a GM gen tree. Okay, so we've got our first bit of disagreement here, which is good. We needed a way to sort of talk about this and figure out how we're going to manage it. So one of you wants to punch him in the foot. Yeah, they're very, very similar. And y'all definitely, like, you've got the close idea. If you grab and hold it, he can't move too well. Okay. So in this instance, we would need a way to understand which of you is going to kind of be the boss right now. Who's going to be the final arbiter of the decision? And I mean, I could, let's see. Well, we've got agreement in chat. We've got an agreement in chat. So for the moment, I am going to, I'll just call it, like, Michelle has managed to convince Thorny Crane, but I definitely don't want it to be a discussion every single time. Like, and y'all did well. Like, that was, to be honest, that was some of the good, like, solid teamwork role-playing stuff that a lot of groups can't even get figured out. So you did the right thing. I'm only talking about on my side. Just for the sake of speed and continuing the thing rolling along, I would love to form a way that we don't need to deal with this quite as often. To deal with the, sort of decision-making for one another. McCoy says, can we do opposed roles and just say it's the voices in characters' heads arguing with each other? We could. Once I see, here's the thing that I'm wrestling with, is that I think what I would love, what we're at right now is like a couple of people on one team, a couple of people on the other. Eventually, I'm only gonna have about 3 PCs, maybe 4. But at some point, I would love to have like tons of people here in chat. So if we have one team of people, like one PC that's being controlled by, let's say, like, you know, let's be conservative and say it's like 10 different people controlling one of these characters in chat. I definitely need a way so that we don't have to convince, you know, one person doesn't have to convince 9 other people every single time they want to do sort of an unprompted action, one of these full arc decisions. So that's going to be important, and I think maybe we would establish that up at the top. Let's see. Easy way to vote to determine majority. McQuickly says we need an easy way to vote to determine majority, and I think. So you are correct. Like that would be ideal, and maybe we'll just do it visually. You know, Mixer doesn't let me do pills. Unfortunately, I've just shown I can't be responsible with those dang things. Mixer does let me do polls, yes. However, that would allow anyone to vote on it, including people who aren't playing for that character. So instead, I might just say, you know, like, if you are, I might just say, like, call it A or B, and I'll just keep an eye on chat and see, you know, kind of who wins that. Because I'm guessing most of them will be pretty open. Either that. Yeah, McQuick, I think you and I have. Like we in our group, I mean, have definitely experienced the instance where it just feels like there's too much riding on it to maintain that system of trust that you'll only vote for your character. It's a good thought. However, there's always that moment of like, I'm the fighter and I want to rush in. And of course, everyone else is going to feel like they're too invested. You know, they feel like they're weak. You know, the healer and the wizard and the rogue. Feel like they're too weak and they don't want to be left alone by the fighter, but the fighter's like, I rush in because that's the character I'm playing. I think we'd have too many people who are like, I'm just going to throw in a sneaky vote against the fighter rushing in if it does come up to a poll vote. So we shall see. We shall see. Ultimately, it might just come down to I make them both a decision, and I keep an eye on chat to see who wants to do what. Or, you know, what I was initially thinking we would do is sort of a tag system. A system by which I tag one person from a particular team, and for the next, you know, we could, you know, set a timer on it, or we could, you know, make it like this turn you get to decide. We could change it up every turn. We could change it up every scene or something. And that means that for right now, like, McQuickwe, you are fully in charge of Mechatuna. It is fully under your control, and then we change that tag. You know, we tag somebody else to be in charge later on. Okay, let's finish out this scene. Because I think, like y'all said, you kind of reached consensus here. But I think this is going to be a body roll, which y'all are good about. So let's make the roll and see how you do. You get a +2 to this. 10 + 2. It's a full success. It's a full success. Okay, so Mechatuna is on the ground. They're cradling one of their hands, and they sort of they're groaning about it. And the crane with a lightning hand suddenly we suddenly see them dart out between the bars and grab the guard. So right now the guard is standing on one leg that's caught inside their belt, and their other leg is currently in the crane's. When I think about the crane, I just think of like a quiet sort of martial artist. And so yeah, the crane is in their wiry hands, just holding tight to the guard's foot. And I think with this, Mechatuna, you see that the guard's belt is fully exposed. All the guard can do is just sort of like wobble around, trying not to fall over backwards. You know, you ever get that when you know, when you were a kid, if one of your siblings or something, you tried to kick them and they grab a hold of your foot and you're just like, you are fully stuck there. You have this guard now in your power for a moment. And Mechatuna, you realize that the belt, including the old keys, the old key cards, are within your grasp. And I think we will cut to a cliffhanger there as we see that that Mechatuna is eyeing the keys. So y'all did quite well, and I really appreciate all your help there, because that gave me a lot to think about. I think we have fully decided on Dungeon World as our system, and in the future, I think we're going to be able to start. We're not next session is not going to be, because I am wrapping up. I'm on my tail end of my time for today, but the next session is not going to be character building yet, so you don't need to worry about that. I definitely want that to be at a time when I can get people available for this. You know, I want people to be here to play it, and so I'll definitely need there to be some time when I can get in contact with those people in particular, and we can talk about what the character building is going to be like. And when I say get in contact with them, I mean, like, you know, find them on Discord or you know, have a live stream where a bulk of them can participate. Now, with all that said, I would think that, you know, Fridays might be a good time for this sort of thing. But of course, you know, Fridays being a pretty common day for people to have, you know, off of you know, various things, it might be that we would have to, you know, like, cancel Fridays more frequently than we would have to cancel, say, a Wednesday. So I don't know. We shall have to do some decision making about that. But I hope y'all will go into the Discord and tell them that this was fun. If you want to jump into the RPG chat or the lobby someplace and just tell people, like, you know, this was an interesting one. I think we can get people in here and we can have a good time playing some Dungeon World with chat. I think next time we're going to be coming back here and doing more design work. We're going to need to, you know, we've essentially given ourselves a list of questions here, and then I'm going to have to decide how to answer them. Now, of course, it looks like a lot of questions. My guess is we're going to have a lot of them that are answered by, you know, like a whole bulk of these are probably going to be answered by one or two solutions. The unprompted stuff might be a little bit more difficult, but next time we are not going to be doing character building. I would say we've got probably one, maybe two more design sessions in here, and then we've got a world building session and a character building session, and then we're playing. So I'm very excited. Michelle, Crane, McQuay, Nate, thank you all so much for helping me do this. I'm going to sign off for today. If you want to keep discussing this, we're going to move all of this into the RPG chat. RPG chat. Tuna asks, is this a great idea? And yeah, I'm going to go with yes. Uh-oh, we've got 50-50 though. I'm just going to go ahead and put in the... Oh, I don't have an invite for this one yet. Oh, I like it. Whack. Okay. Got to set it up so it doesn't expire. There's no limit to it. Okay. So there is the Discord link, and that will go straight into the particular channel that we are using for this. Okay, yeah, that'll pull you right in there. And then, as I said, I think next week we're going to be back doing more design for this. We're going to be, you know, looking at our options for some of these questions that we've brought up. And after that, we're going to get to start going into this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it. Okay, that's going to be it for me. I'll see y'all next week, hopefully on Tuesday for Frankenstein. Otherwise, I'll be back on Wednesday playing more Disco Elysium. I'll be back on Thursday, of course, with Harry Potter. And on Friday, we'll be back doing this. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.